Keishaun found out Alessandro was his son and as expected didn't take it too well. I, however, didn't expect Alessandro to attack him and threaten everyone else even if you do know you're gonna have to apologize to your father. My promise still stands. If anyone hurts my mother, I will kill them.
After Alessandro and I left Keishaun's office, we ventured to the second floor where Michael told us my father would be. I haven't seen my father in years. We've talked over the phone and our relationship is pretty good, however. I can't help but wonder if deep down he's disappointed in me. After all, I did get pregnant at 18, and as bad as the whole situation was, with my family and being rejected looking back, I should have at least visited once or twice. It's not like I had to stay at the pack house. My dad still owned our house. He just moved to the pack house because it was easier. Michael couldn't visit us because of his beta duties, and Dad only came once, but that was when Alessandro was a baby. I stopped in front of a room with a double door and knocked twice before I heard a gruff, "Come in." I walked into the room with Alessandro close behind me. My dad was in his bed looking pale and sickly. He looked nothing like the brave, strong beta I knew growing up. I immediately rushed to his side and engulfed him in a tight hug, fighting back the tears that were threatening to fall from my eyes at any moment due to the sight of my father. "Hi, Daddy," I said as I held on to my father as he would disappear at any moment. "Hello, baby girl," my dad replied. "Why didn't you or Michael tell me that you were this sick? I would have come out here earlier," I asked him as a tear fell from my eye. "I didn't want to worry you, Rosa. Plus, you have a good life in Italy. I didn't want to burden you with my problems," he replied with a cough. "Grandpa, don't say that you'll never be a burden to us. We love you," Alessandro said before I could say anything else to my father. Dad tilted his head and looked at Alessandro with a smile. "Alessandro, my boy, you've grown so big, I hardly recognized you. Come to give your granddad a hug." Alessandro threw himself at his grandfather, hanging onto him as his life depended on it. He and my father had a deep bond, and he loves him very much. He was the father figure in Alessandro's life in all his years of growing up. And even though we lived countries apart, my dad was always there for Alessandro, whether it was via phone call, email, or FaceTime. And that's why I know it hurts him to see his grandfather like this. I was extremely puzzled as to why my dad was so sick. He didn't have any physical injuries as far as I could see, so I decided to ask him about it. "Dad," I said, bringing back his attention to me, "why do you look so weak and pale? I can't see any injuries on you, so it can't be that you're healing from physical pain. So what's wrong?" I asked, worried as to why my father looked like that. "First of all, Rosalyn, I want to apologize to you for not being a good father when you were growing up. I guess I was so busy being a beta, it took you running away from me to see the giant flaws in my family. The reason why I'm this sick is that why your mom left. We argued with you and she asked me and Michael to choose between you and her. We decided that she was making an absurd request and told her we wouldn't choose her, then she left shortly after. We searched for her for months, but couldn't find her. We gave up hope when we had exhausted all our resources. Then, a couple of months ago, I felt a burning pain in my neck and my heart felt like it was being ripped from its place in my chest. I asked my wolf Riley what was going on. He told me that our mate had been marked and mated by another, and the pain I was feeling was the pain of our bond shattering. I hadn't eaten, slept, or talked to anyone in weeks, and my wolf became unresponsive. So Michael made me move into the pack house. At first, I was a bit better with other people around, but then my depression came back, and I've been like this ever since. I knew Michael was gonna invite you to his wedding, and he wanted to tell you what has been happening whenever he called, but I asked him not to tell you. I didn't want you guys to worry. I gasped at what my father just told. I could hear the hurt and betrayal he felt in his voice. How could a mom do that to him? The man she was married to for so many years, he was her mate. I remembered what my dad said about her, wanting them to choose between her or me. I couldn't hold back my tears any longer as I thought to myself, this is my fault. If he had just chosen her, my dad wouldn't be going through this pain right now. Oh, my darling baby girl, don't cry, my dad soothed as he tried to calm me down. Dad, I'm so sorry. This is all my fault. If you had chosen her instead of spending your time searching for me, you wouldn't be in so much pain right now. No, honey. None of this is your fault. It's not anyone's fault. I don't know why your mom rejected you since the day you were born, but I do know that I love you with all my heart, and that will never change. I hugged my father and told him how much I loved him with all my heart. We spent practically the rest of the day catching up, laughing, and talking about life throughout the past years. Michael had stopped by from time to time to check on us as well. By the time we were done talking, it was already 4 o'clock in the evening. My dad sent us off to have dinner and said he was gonna take a nap because he felt tired. As I closed the door to my dad's room, I couldn't help but feel sad because of what my dad was going through. Don't worry, Mom. He'll get better. I know it, Alessandro said while hugging me from the side. I know me, Bambino. It just hurts to see him like that. How about we try calling out to his wolf? Maybe if his wolf comes back, he'll start feeling better, asked Alessandro. That's a good idea, son. I'll ask your aunt and uncle to try as well. Okay. Mom, now let's go have dinner. Cause I'm starving, Alessandro replied as he threw his hands in the air dramatically. I chuckled at his antics and said, okay, let's go to the kitchen, and I'll make us something to eat. When we arrived on the ground floor, I saw people bustling about. I stopped a young girl to ask her what's going on. She replied with, the Alpha's parents and sister are due back any minute now, and rushed off to where she was going. I remembered Michael telling me that this morning, but I just shrugged it off and made my way to the kitchen with Alessandro by my side. A little while later, a little girl came up to us and looked at us with a strange. We walked out of the kitchen after dinner, and the girl who had just pointed and yelled ate us. That's them. At this point, Michael came up to us and introduced us to those people as Kishan's parents and his sister. At that moment, Keshan's mom came over and she asked, who are you people and what are you doing here? I looked at her for a moment and then said, my name is Rosalyn Parker and this is my son Alessandro Parker. We came to this pack for a month to hang out and attend my brother Michael's wedding. His mother then asked, are you Stephen's daughter that went missing all those years ago? I replied, yes ma'am. His mother then said, why does your son look like a younger version of my son? This made my heart pound and I replied, that is something you should ask your son, Mrs. Black. Just as Alessandro and I were about to leave, his mom grabbed my arm to stop me and turned to look at Kishan, looking as angry as ever. Kishan, is there something you need to tell us? At that moment, Kishan stood up and spoke. Mom, Dad, this is Rosalyn, my mate, and our son, Alessandro. They were all stunned to hear his answer, and then Keshan's father, who had been silent, spoke up and, if he is your son, then why doesn't he have your last name? Before Kishan could answer, Alessandro said to his father, that is because he got my mother pregnant, then rejected her. Keshan's mother gasped, Kishan, how could you reject your mate, then let us think all these years that you were mateless? Kishan yelled at it, Mom, you guys didn't mind me being mateless when you so eagerly wanted me to marry Amber. Because she was from a rich family. Besides, I didn't reject Rosalyn because I wanted to. I did it because Dad wanted me to mate with Amber to produce a pup of a strong bloodline. She is an Alpha's daughter after all, and she came from a rich family, so don't act like you guys are sad that I rejected her. His mother looked at me with tears in her eyes, shocked, then turned to his father and slapped him across the face. How could you? She yelled, tears rolling down her cheeks. His father then scoffed, first of all, you did the right thing by rejecting her. Stephen was a good beta, but his bloodline wasn't strong enough to give you the powerful heir that Amber can. Besides, Who's to say that this kid is yours anyway? He could be a bastard who just resembles you for all we know. Alessandro let out a loud growl that shook every inch of the pack house, and we all turned our heads to look at him in shock. Alessandro strode aggressively up to Keshaun's father, radiating his power as he did so, and said, "That powerful enough for you, old man?" His father was surprised for a moment, then said, "You are just a bastard with a gold-digging mother trying to take my son's money. But if you think I'll ever let that happen, you can think again." As soon as the words left his mouth, Alessandro pressed him against the wall and then answered his father by saying, "If we wanted your son's money, we could have gotten it a long time ago. Plus, my mother always worked hard for whatever she wanted, and that's why she opened up her cafe by herself. Plus, I work as well. So we don't need the filthy money that you lied and cheated innocent people out of. A cafe? Ha, don't make me laugh. What can you do with that? I could buy her out in less than an hour. I'm a business tycoon with multi-million-dollar companies. I could have anything I want," his father replied. Then Keshaun yelled, "That's enough." Alessandro let go of his father and then walked up to him and said, "Remember our deal, Alpha? I would hate to make you an orphan before time." Alessandro was struggling to control his wolfishness. By the way, his eye color changed instantly. I walked over to him and calmed him down a bit. Keshaun's mom walked up to us and looked at Alessandro as if he was a child she had lost years ago. His mom stared at him like that, and Alessandro surprised me by hugging her and then apologizing for his behavior. Alessandro turned to her, kissed his mom on the cheek, and then told her he was going for a run. As he walked out the front door, I saw him change into his wolf skin. Keshaun's mom turned to look at me and spoke. "Rosalyn, would you become the Luna of this pack?"